Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the live stream for the New York afternoon session. I want to welcome back everyone who was on the morning session and have carried over and joining us for the afternoon, as well as everyone who have previously subscribed to the channel and just returning for the first time today. This morning was a little lackluster. There was some price action at around 11 o'clock that some of the traders was able to catch a run up. And so this move here is what some of the traders were able to catch on to and run it through these. You see the purple lines I have marked off as the New York and London high. So they ran it, through those morning session highs. And now we see prices pretty much consolidated and traded sideways for the lunch hour. Thank you, Crypto Queen. Absolutely. As you come in, if you've been here before, you already understand what you're getting into. Go ahead and like the stream up front so we can get as many likes as we can in the first 15 minutes and see if YouTube won't do a mass push to get more traders in here for the rest of the session. Welcome back. All right, let me remove those morning session highs since we don't need them any longer. Only session high we still have open is way down here, the Asia low. So unless we have a big push down, that's likely going to remain open until sometime further in the week or maybe even longer than that. But as of right now, it's a pretty good distance away. So we're at currently 588. It's down at 460. So about 100 points. You caught it, Sniper? Excellent. Awesome. Good job. Mhm. So we had a dip below these 10 o'clock lows. Press here down to halfway of that fair value gap. We had the 1 hour fair value gap it traded into. And then straight out. That was the last down close candle we had. And then from there, just sought higher prices up until the lunch hour. Looking now at the low end of this fair value gap, there's equal lows. We have equal lows that were just made, and we had a low probably 15 minutes ago that's around the same area. Hmm. I'll move back up to a higher time frame once we get out of the macro. I just want to see how price delivers and whether there's some market structure shifts or even liquidity pulls. 15 Sibi. Okay. Yeah, it's a good place to watch, Ray. I'm not sure what the dollar's going to do, but it looks like it may fail and we may seek lower prices here. And so if we see an impulse from NQ or ES and around the same time, then yeah, that would definitely make sense for an afternoon run. Yeah, crypto. Actually, this weekend I was looking at. I normally go down to the 1 minute, and I started doing the 3 minute just because you mentioned it, just to see what type of confluence I would get on the 3 minute chart. And 3 minute actually looks quite promising. Yep. All right. Let me go ahead and mark out the lunch low, just so we're all looking at the same value. Equal lows here on the 1 minute. All right. So far, we've been range bound before the macro. So we had the low put in before and the high put in before, and the entire macro is just traded inside. Let me just go up to the 5 minutes so we have a different time frame to look at, different point of reference. Get rid of these. We're just 10 minutes into the hour, so we still have time. Let's continue to watch price as it delivers and see if we don't get those lunchtime lows soon. Last one. Last one. 3 minute fair value gap here. We could sweep these lows, maybe get to the one just below. Okay. 15, 5, and 1. Yep, the 3 minute is fairly new to me. I'm generally the same, Ray, 15, 5, and 1, but I did see the 3 minutes being promising during back testing session this weekend, so it was good to see. All right, lunchtime lows with insight. Mm, okay. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so far we did not get a rejection on the 15-minute dollar uh, fair value gap that it was in. It was in a bearish fair value gap. It was looking for the SIBI to push price down potentially, and so far that has not been the case. Just started a new 15-minute candle, so we'll watch and see how that one develops. And based on that, we'll also see how we're doing on Nasdaq and ES so far. This hour has not been a lot, but again, we're only 15 minutes in on the hourly candle, so we'll give it some more time. There is a fair value gap just below, just like we see on the 3 minute. So we'll look and see how price reacts once it gets to that level. Prior to that, I'm just expecting it to continue moving sideways until it's ready to sweep some liquidity. Hmm. It depends. Since I have 150,000 account that I'm trading now, I'm looking at generally do 2 to 3 contracts. But it depends. It can be more. It can also be, if I'm not feeling great about the setup, it could just be one contract. Looking for price to retrace further down below the 50% mark, which is here at 575. I want to see it trade below there. I'm going to see it sweep the lunch lows, which I also have marked here with this purple line. And we'll see where it goes from there. It looks like the dollar is now starting to reject that fair value gap a little bit. Still 10 minutes remaining on the candle, so we have some time before it really shows us where it's going to land. But for now, it's starting to look good. Good idea, crypto. Good idea. Yeah, I was thinking I would do two things. I would make just normal general content on either one of the setups that I like or something like that, but also um, do highlight videos of some of the trades that I make and have those posted and see if that can't recruit a few more people into the room. Um, yeah, so my bias for the week is remaining bullish. But as far as on the day itself, I am looking for highs to still be made, new daily highs from the previous day. But in doing so, I'm also recognizing that the dollar has some higher targets that it wants to hit. So I'm being aware of that phenomenon and how that might impact the equity markets. We have a lot of news this week, so price could actually go in several different directions. We could get news tomorrow morning that could send it lower. It could take out some targets there, and then news come back finally on the final day on Wednesday. I'm sorry, the following day on Wednesday, and then we could see prices start to later in the week look for not only the daily highs, but also look for potentially last week's high, which is, as we know, the all-time. Because I'm also looking at ES, and ES didn't achieve its high the way that Nasdaq did last week. So if you go into ES, you'll see it still has some values above that it hasn't hit yet. And so I'm just thinking that if it continues to move bullish towards its all-time high, that NQ may follow and eclipse the high that it made last week. And so that's my bias for the week. As it comes to the day, yeah, I'm just going to let price dictate and tell me where it wants to go. But sell off early in the week would not surprise me. Great job, TJ. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah, I've noticed a dip in viewership recently, and so I'm not sure what that's related to. But I'll just keep doing things the way they are, adding a little bit here and there, and hope that the viewers increase. Hmm. Yeah, Tony, one thing you may want to consider is to just, instead of trading your live account, especially if you haven't been successful, a lot of times is to move over into your paper trading or demo account, whichever your broker calls it. But just so you can continue to practice, but make sure that you understand what the setup is, how you're entering the trade, and also continue to get more work on managing your trade when you're in. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily, just because you have missed your funding, drop and stop watching the channels and then come back only when you're funded. You don't want to miss out on the lessons you can learn in the middle. So stick with it. If you need to, just move over to your demo account, but continue practicing. Mm, okay. Yeah, crypto. I can only speak for Topstep, and for Topstep, it's exactly how we trade here, and the same as you would do in demo. It's just based on your end of day, your end of day balance. Your end of day balance, you can't exceed. Well, once you hit your maximum loss, they'll turn you off for the day. But assuming that doesn't happen, they just take your end of day balance and you start working towards your goal. You just can't achieve more than 50% in one day. So that's really the only thing to consider is you don't want to get, if you're doing a 50,000 account, you don't want to make more than 1,500 on any given day, because then that'll make funding. It'll just continue to push out your goal until you get that large trade under 50% of the total. So the max drawdown for, well, let me just make sure I'm not misquoting you. I know for the 50,000 account, it is maximum total is 3,000, I think. Let's see. Sorry, it's 2,000 for the 50,000 account. It's 2,000 total, and the max daily loss, I believe, is 1,000. The only thing about the 50,000 account is you can only go in with a maximum of 5 contracts. So just keep that in mind. Even if you go to the micros, I believe it's still 5 contracts. And on the 150, the maximum is 4,500. And I believe on any given day, you can lose up to 3,000 before they turn off your account until the following day. At 5 minis, yep. 5 minis will get you a lot. I just wanted to put that out there just in case. I know some people trade micros and they may want to do 7, 8, 9 micros, and just like it won't let you do that. Yep. Yep. I have the lunchtime high marked out here. This lunch high is at 17,609. And so then we also have the lunch low at 17,576. So the range from 12 to 1 o'clock, I'm just looking to see how price reacts to either one of those levels once it gets there. Right now, it looks like it's just over half of this range. So it's in the premium zone, but looks like it could still move the other direction. Let me take a look at what the dollar's doing. All right, so we're getting a rejection on the dollar with the 15-minute candle closing in another 10 seconds. Let's go and just take a quick peek at that. All right, so that's the hour, but if we go down to the 15-second, we'll see there was a fair value gap here that was traded into, and we see a rejection on the last candle. Now the opening of this new candle is also pressing down, but we have a bullish fair value gap, so we'll need to see if price can push through down to these lows. And meanwhile, on the hourly, we see Nasdaq not really as strong as the others, but we see a big push coming from both S&P and the Dow. Would have liked to have seen Nasdaq push into this fair value gap before seeking higher prices. Yep, it was never able to. All right, let's put this back on the hourly and get back over to the other chart. Yep. Dollar still pushing down. Let's see if we get a sweep of lows here and then energy moving up. Half past the hour now. Also half past the hour. No need to adjust the lunch low. I know some people view the lunch as 12 to 1:30. Mm-mm. Okay, let's take a peek over to ES and see how it's performing on the 5 minute. Mm. Okay, so it opened up the hour with equal lows of the lunchtime low. Then we had the lunchtime high here. Right back to Nasdaq. Let's see if price doesn't break this trend line that I put here just to show that it's willing to not make this sort of downward slope consolidation. Yeah, I know. Yeah, NQ is definitely not cooperating this morning, and it might have something to do with the fact that it reached those all-time highs last week, and ES is still trying to do so. So it may give us this kind of back and forth price action, whereas ES is going to be clean and going to reach for those highs. Yeah, I wonder if we may wait until the next macro before either the high or the low is taken. So have another 12 to 13 minutes. Mm-mm-mm. Yep. Let me just take another peek at the ES and see where we are. Yep. Yep. Nice and clean. Looking for that high. Ultimately getting up over these into the highs of 2022. Yep. Let's just go back and find that level. All right, here's the high of ES. So it says January 4th, 2022. 5028. 5028 is the high of ES that we're looking for. So anyone who's trading S&P for the week, you're going to be targeting 5028. About 100 points from where price is right now. And for those who don't trade the S&P, but you do trade Nasdaq, 100 points on S&P is roughly 250 points on Nasdaq. Get back down to the NQ. It looks like we may have a break of this trend line liquidity is building here. Right, we do. So we get rid of this. Hmm, that was good. Getting a little nervous with price building up that high. Oops. Still hoping that it does something like this. Okay, 145. 5 minutes until the macro, 15 minutes until 2 o'clock. Remember at 2 o'clock, you can start looking for the silver bullet entry, depending on what your bias is. And you go ahead and shift down to the 1 minute. We have another set of like trend line liquidity here, which could be perfect because I would like to see this low taken first if we're going to go higher. So we could start sweeping these lows here all the way down until taking out this low and then build back up to something higher. That's what I'm hoping happens. But again, the market makers, they have their own idea. They do what they want to do, and I just react to it. Hmm. All right, still price stalling, which is what I was hoping to see, that it would wait until another couple minutes before start making a move in whichever direction it wants to take first. All right, let's get one more view of the 5 minute before we sit on the 1 minute for a prolonged period of time. Here we go. Let's slide back down to the 1 minute. Martin, you must I like the conspiracy theories. But you might actually be right with what big money is willing to do, waiting for something that we're not aware of, and then all of a sudden they're in a good position and we're out. All right, so we're now at the macro 150, and all of a sudden we see price action picking up. We see that it started to break below this trend line. As I said, it will go one by one for liquidity. Not saying it will take them all out. I'm hoping that it takes them all, because in doing so, it can get its way all the way down to the lunchtime low that we have marked here at 576. All right, I'll get rid of the first two since they've already been traded to. All right, next one. Let's get rid of this trend line as well. All right, there we go. All right, so we have two more. Well, let's make this one. Two more swing lows that have not been traded to. This one almost was traded to, maybe a tick or two more, and it would have traded down. And then we have the last one done just after we started this session, and then obviously the lunchtime low at 576. Okay, we're back in a bearish fair value gap, so let's see how price reacts in here. Okay, let's see if this is the candle that gets through and finally breaks that low at 586. Go. Okay, only one left, only one remaining if it's going to sweep the lunch lows. And that's down at 578. So in about another 10 points. I'll remove that. So these are all the liquidity points that are still open. All right, 2 minutes before the hour. Let's see how we close out. See if we get some energy towards one of these or both low targets. And then what's important is once that happens, what does price do next? Do we immediately see an engulfing candle back into this range? Or do we see it push lower towards some target down here? Final minute. Okay, now that 2 o'clock is here, let's see if we get a bit more energy on the candles here. And see how as soon as it turned 2 o'clock, the first few seconds gave us a nice candle. But let's see if it follows through and finishes up strong. We're still on the 1 minute, so it won't take too long for the price to print. But we do want to see some energy towards these lower targets. We don't want to see it continue to just trade in the middle in the zone, sit around the 50% of this lunchtime range. Oh, Microsoft and Google earnings. Okay, I didn't realize that. Uh-oh. That should impact both the S&P and Nasdaq. I'm not sure if either one, Microsoft or Google, is on the Dow. Probably not in the Dow. Mm. All right, so Nasdaq, let's watch out then. We got earnings this week plus FOMC, NFP. It's a lot going on this week, and that could have something to do with how price is delivering today. Okay, AMD as well. Okay, go down and then back up. Yep. Uh-huh. Hmm. It's actually not confirmed yet. Yep. So everyone, there's a lot going on in the chat now where people are talking about earnings this week as well as later on this week maybe being the time that we can expect to see the most movement. So let's go ahead and just while we're sitting here, let's just review the calendar quickly. Obviously today there's nothing. We mentioned that already. But tomorrow morning we have medium impact at 9 o'clock. Then we'll have the opening bell at 9:30, and then two high impact news events at 10. So tomorrow morning definitely will be volatility. You'll see maybe some lows that hasn't been returned to. Like for instance, this morning I believe we had the London low that hasn't been traded to yet. That could be something that's targeted tomorrow or Wednesday. Then on Wednesday we have high impact news at 8:15, another one at 8:30. We have the opening bell at 9:30, medium impact at 9:45, and then two high impact news events at 2 o'clock, including FOMC with the federal funds rate coming out, and then a press conference at 2:30. So Wednesday is going to be quite eventful. Um, and if you're brand new to trading, it's definitely a day you want to turn your account over to demo and just demo trade that day. But if you don't want to do that, just know that it's going to be volatile and there's going to be some price movement if you want to try to trade that. Thursday, same thing. So there's an OPEX meeting all day. Not sure how that's going to impact price, but we do have high impact news at 8:30 as well as 10. Again, with the opening bell in the middle of that. And Friday, same thing, 8:30, three forms of high impact news. And then at 10 o'clock, one high impact news. So there's just a lot going on this week. Lots of high impact news being announced. And so we just want to make sure that we are aware of all of those events and that we protect ourselves if we're in the middle of a trade. Yep. So this week, if you're in a trade and you're on side and things are moving well, just make sure you keep peeking back to look at the calendar, make sure there's new high impact news coming soon. That could turn your trade upside down. Oops. Okay. While we were looking at the news, these last two candles look to be quite bullish, trading up into this fair value gap. Let's see how we react since we're there. Again, we're back around the middle point of this range. Go ahead and measure that again. So if we just measure from lunchtime low, lunchtime high, 50%, we're just above that, which is right here at 592. All right, so price finally did break and pushed lower on the fair value gap, the 15-minute fair value gap that we were talking about for the dollar. That was above it and thought that maybe price would reject out of it and trade lower, where it's actually doing that now. So now we want to see if we get the bullish push from all the indices that we were hoping for. It's a little concerning that we didn't sweep these lows. I really wanted to take those lows out prior to moving higher. Mm, mm. Yeah, good call. The bullish fair value gap on a 4 hour is the closest one, followed by the hour and then maybe the 15-minute. Actually, it's 4 hour, then the 15-minute, then the hours, the lowest one. Okay, we're coming up on the end here. Anyone who took this fair value gap here as the silver bullet, you might want to target highs here, these equal highs. Okay, we're able to break this, and 609. The next target would be 629. 629, which was the high from Friday. Let's go ahead and find that. All right, so price just ran through those. Let's get them off the chart. All right, we see now when price was breaking down and sweeping these lows, it got hung up on the fair value gap here on the 1 minute, and it just never really traded or closed below the entire hour. And so now we got strong momentum out with the dollar selling off, and now higher prices being sought. So next target would be 628. 628. And yes, I missed that entry just because I was looking for sweeps down here, just like this morning, the same. I was looking for a lower sweep that never came, and price kind of took off without me. But based off of all of this that I saw, I don't feel like I missed out on anything, because you can't catch every trade. And I stuck to what I was looking for. Long from 86, okay. Yep, absolutely. I see what you're saying. I hear you. All right, here we go. Now we have, so on the 5 minute, we have a breaker, which now being confirmed. We have a fair value gap inside. So now if we get a retracement, then potentially you have a unicorn set up. Uh, 628, 629. Yep, this is a Friday's high. So potentially it may fall next. You're right. $7.52. Oh, okay. Yep. So it's these two candles, 1230 and 1235. Mm-hmm. Right on GC. Well, another 5 points, and this target will be met. Let's see. I know a lot of you were taking entries down here on the either 1 minute or 2 or 3 minutes or something pretty low. Let's just take a look and see where these stop losses will be placed. Right, there we go on the big fair value gap. So 1 to 2 trade here. Right, still already eclipsed 28 points, so it's already been delivered 30 points there. And that's coming from this big fair value gap right here. So anyone who entered on this 1 minute fair value gap that was pretty much alive the entire 1 o'clock hour, if you entered anywhere on the exit or somewhere inside, your exit would have been at 17,620, which has already occurred. So oh, for real, for real. Why are those? Okay. My understanding is I had it because we had a high made here, retracement. We push up to a new high. So these two candles pushed up to that high. Then we had a breakdown below price. So it's the same. It's low, high, lower low, and then a higher high. So that's just my understanding of the breaker. If that understanding is incorrect, let me know. Okay. Liquidity sweep of a higher time frame PDA. Okay, I'll take a look at that crypto. I'm always looking for ways to refine my understanding and my entries. So I will take a look at that. Okay, so if this was your breaker, then you're looking for a bearish break. I was looking for bullish. But if these two become your breaker, right, then we're going to be essentially high, low, higher high, and now we're going to be looking for a lower low, and then a retracement back to the breaker for entry. So you're going to be looking for lower prices from here. Hmm. Yep. Yeah. So in that case, this wouldn't actually be your breaker. This would just be your order block. So since we're bullish and you're not expecting us to be bearish and break below, you would just expect a return to this level to then send us higher. Mhm. Yeah, so that's the thing. When it comes to back testing, real-time entries are extremely difficult to do. So it's more or less going to be you just reviewing what the trade was, looking back at what the potential entries were, whether they were multiple or just one, and then looking at the range. So you see how did the trade develop? What can I expect if I take a similar trade in the future? Does it always deliver 20 points? Does it always deliver sort of a 1-to-2 ratio? Like what are the dynamics of different types of setups? And so that's more or less what I discovered when I back test, but it's not as um, intuitive as you would think, where you're actually taking entries as if price was redelivering once again in the same manner. So yeah, that's been extremely difficult. There may be some options out there, probably some paid programs that allow you to do that, but nothing I've found that's either free or included with TradingView that allows you to get that real time back testing. So it's more for me is just grabbing all the different details and dynamics of the trade, so I can then predict future behavior. Okay. All right. Looks like price stopped short of reaching Friday's high. Not that it's not going to get there, but it just so far has not done it. Just looking at ES to see where we are. Right, so ES is at its highest value of the day. So is Nasdaq. Okay, ES traded into a volume imbalance, which caused a retracement. So we need to wait and see if it busts through that volume imbalance and is able to get Friday's high as it moves towards its, as I mentioned, all-time highs for ES. Mm. All right, dollar is still bearish, which is a good sign. It may move down to the 1 hour fair value gap, which it still has a little ways to go, as well as there's a long tail on one of its candles, so it may trade into 50% of that tail. Hmm. Replay on Ninja Trader. All right. Never had it had that recommended to me, so I'll consider that as well. It looks like we might get that run up into 628 that we've been waiting for. S&P now retesting the volume imbalance once again on the hourly chart. Coincidentally, we see NQ also pushing against the highs from about 20 minutes ago. HDS. No, I'm not muted. Just not a lot to talk about. This price is just kind of bouncing around, but no, I'm not muted. RVJ, welcome. Several people have. RVJ, I have not. I have not, but several people have been entering trades. A lot of people, the most recent trade they caught was, seems like in this area, right around 2 o'clock. Price, the lows was sitting inside of a 1 minute fair value gap here. And right after 2 o'clock, we got a breakout. So these two candles, there were several people in the room who caught along here, caught it up here, and a lot of them exited. Some may still be in. All right, there we go. Friday's high has now been eclipsed. So as you have a target for the day, eclipsing the high of the previous day, that has now been done. Now look over, the dollar still pushing lower on the hourly. There's a fair value gap pretty far away still. So there's still room for the dollar to fall. We have equal highs on the Dow. S&P definitely traded above the fair value gap, or I'm sorry, the volume imbalance. Let's just go over and take a peek. We'll look at it ourselves. All right, so this is the dollar just eclipsed this low from 8 o'clock this morning. This is the tail I was speaking about. So it may trade to half of the tail, which also looks like about 50% of this fair value gap. So 103.56 and a half or so could be where the dollar's heading. We have equal highs on the Dow. Volume imbalance I spoke about for S&P is this little gap right here that's now traded into. We'll see in 20 minutes where it closes, but we want to see if it closes above this gap here, somewhere up in this range or maybe even higher. Yep. And that purple line was just here are the highs of Friday. So Nasdaq just traded above those. Oh, there we go. My photo's back for anyone who missed it, who missed the video. It's back. Yep. Yeah, it was a good silver bullet, but you're right. I didn't take it either. Let's go back down to the 1 minute. We'll take a look at it. Yep. So we had 2 o'clock created back-to-back bullish candles. Third candle was pretty short, and it created a fair value gap here that was traded back into at 204. And from there, price just pretty much bought out for about 10 consecutive candles, reaching a high, which allowed an exit. Along the way, it swept all these highs that were in its way, equal highs here. So yeah, you're right. It easily delivered 30 points if that's what you were looking for. Now, if you wanted to hold through this consolidation as it got to Friday's high, it would have taken you a little bit longer. But as you can see, it delivered. Up next for NQ, if it continues higher, is around 650. 17,650 would be the next pool of liquidity. All right, Revelations. Thank you very much for that. uh, the silver bullet. That was their, I guess they still use that as their sort of nickname. I haven't paid attention to a Coors Light commercial in a while, but I'm sure they still use that. 17,650 is also the 4th standard deviation. Okay. Yep. Yeah, when I was looking at that level, that is from okay, Thursday at 4 p.m. is what that is. So it's not the high of Thursday, but it's the afternoon session. Well, not exactly. The 1300 is actually higher. We've now made equal highs there. We've traded here the last few candles, so I'll drop this high and squish it down just a bit so we can see the next level up at 650. That was quick. That was a quick 5 points down in 1 second, it seemed. A couple minutes, we'll be closing in on um, the next macro period, and we'll look and see where price goes from there. Uh, Generally, if you're not familiar, generally we'll look for some point of liquidity to either continue or to sweep liquidity in the opposite direction. So when you see price stalling around and not really doing much, it's waiting until we get here in just a couple more minutes, and then you'll see price loosen up a bit. Okay, looks like it's going to do it early. Hey, Zach, welcome back. I'm doing well, doing well. I haven't taken any positions today. Price just not really cooperated with me or hasn't given me the signals early enough for me to comfortably take the trade. But we have had some other members do well this morning on a couple of the longs, one this morning and then one at right around 2 o'clock. Right, all right. Thought about taking that bearish fair value gap that was right here, the price traded into. Okay, here we are. I'll remove this line so we can see the candle in the wicks. But we're headed into power hour. We have about 10 minutes left. So let's see what the first half of this macro gives us. Then we'll start power hour and see the second half of the macro. And just pay attention and see which one of these lows or highs are swept. So far, we swept this one before the macro started, just a minute before. So now what'll be interesting is, do we go back and take this high? Because by sweeping this low, it's pointing to the fact that in the very near term, we're going to be looking for lower prices. If we can overtake this high, then we're returning to looking for higher prices. Hmm. Little volume imbalance here. I know it's on a low time frame, but I still want to mark it up. Macro time is generally, for the most part, it's 10 minutes before the hour and 10 minutes after the hour. So in the case of right now, 250 to 310. Yeah, generally this is what you'll see me do. And so here you see the closure here at 310. And so whatever it is that we're looking for the macro to do, we want to see it happen within this time frame, not before and not after. If it does, then that doesn't trigger a trade. It's fine for price action, but it doesn't trigger an entry. Okay, it looks like this volume imbalance didn't hold, didn't do anything, so I'm going to remove it. Oh, okay. 1 hour fair value gaps have been holding. All right. Good to know. Oh, no problem, Porter. Any other questions you have, just go ahead and throw it in the chat. Don't worry about it. Hmm. Mhm. Okay. 3 minute volume imbalance. TP at 2R and 680. Okay. Nice. Okay. 1 more minute and then power hour starts. Yep. So any trader waiting on power hour, it's coming up in just 1 minute. Mm. 3 o'clock, power hour it is. And look at that power. Holy crap. Is there news at 3 o'clock I didn't know about? Is somebody, can somebody help me out here? What's going on? And this is happening on this is happening on the Dow, the S&P, and Nasdaq. Look at this. You know what? I'm going to go up to a higher time frame just to keep price in the screen. I don't know. I got to throw my hands up at this one. Yeah, well, it definitely broke Friday's high. This line right here. This is Thursday at 1600. So now let's go back and check Thursday and see if it broke more than just the 1600 high, but maybe some of the others on that day. Okay, not quite at the afternoon high yet. And the high of Thursday, total high, was at 752, 17,752. But who was that who mentioned earlier that we probably had some unscheduled news? Oh, that was Martin. Yep. There we go at 3 o'clock. It just U.S. Treasury news. What is it? Some sort of bond auction or something? All right, I'm going to get rid of the end of this macro marker. There's no need to even pay attention to it. Price has completely run away from the zone and has, after just sweeping liquidity on the lower time frame, I'll show you on the 1 minute. All right, we had a sweep of this low here. We were looking to see if we were going to go for lower prices or not. It swept below and just kind of danced around and thought maybe it would go for lower prices. It bought up a little bit and then just, like you say, to the moon, ran away from us. Let's remove this marker. We don't need it. We don't need this one either. All right, let's see if we get a sell off for the rest of the day now. Yeah, man, that was awesome, crypto. Killed it. That's what I'm saying, Zach. uh, All right, Ray says zoom out. Hmm. I mean, I see the 1 minute that created this fair value gap here. I can see that. Now, I guess if we're going for higher prices, yeah, you'll like to see a retracement somewhere here. 626. It's about a 20 point. Okay, that's a sizable fair value gap. But yeah, I can see a retracement here and potentially pushing that towards higher prices. And we also have an hour Cibi sitting up high. Mm-hmm. One hour. And this is the 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hour held price for the last couple days. And finally, we got to push out today. Still have this daily wick. That is. That's now we look and see if this is a sort of the market maker buy model. We have a high here, here, and then ultimately up top. Unless this becomes a first one, this becomes a second one, and then this becomes a third one. So this is the higher target where it kind of flatlines. But it looks like price is still buying, still pushing. Hmm. Hmm. Yep, this is true. Absolutely. Dollar did push through that fair value gap. It was holding in. It was sitting there for probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes, and now it's finally pushed through. I'm approaching a fair value gap at the beginning of its range, actually. So it is completely retraced from the last leg, basically from London this morning at 2 o'clock all the way until it reached its high at during the 10 o'clock hour. Yes, we do. Crypto 17,751 is the Thursday high, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Thursday high 17,752 flat. All-time high was achieved on Wednesday. That is 17,793 and a half. They saved the fireworks for 3 o'clock exactly. As soon as that candle opened, you can see no matter what time frame you go on, there is no wick to the downside. It just opened and took off. All right, it could be if we go to the moon on Monday with all the news we have coming. That should set everybody up for what needs to happen later on in the week. Hit your 680 level a second time. Daily consequent encroachment wick at 694. Okay, so that's the wick that we had on Thursday en route to its all-time high, or not its all-time high, but the high on Thursday, which was 752. All right, so this is consequent encroachment of the wick, and then 752 is the high. So let me go ahead and mark that up. 752. You're right, it is. There it goes. uh, all right. This level is also gone. Dropping it. Yeah, from 3 o'clock, which now we're only 20 minutes in, and you can see it's already done. It's about 75 points. And that's what I was talking about earlier this morning. People are wondering why not take an entry in here. I mean, to get the same amount of range, it took over an hour to accomplish that. And that's because price wasn't synced. It wasn't in sync at the time. It is now, and boy, is it. Oh, wow. Nice, Ray. So how many accounts do you have total now? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You have backups just in case you have a couple bad days of trading or something happens, and you can always flip over to the other accounts. Ooh, all right. Like potentially today's daily candle will have the largest range since January the 19th, which was 2 Fridays ago. So almost 10 days ago since we had a range this size. Yep, already up 200 so far, from 500 to 700. Let's see. Yep, here we go. 500 at 10 o'clock this morning, or 11 o'clock. It was a sweep of all these lows and then impulse up, creating the gap that then turned into what would be the 2022 entry. Pretty much has continued. B, I did not. No, I didn't. $7.51. Okay. Let's go to where the next target is. So Thursday's high is at 7.52. So yeah, so Thursday's high. I'm not in any position, Mr. Silver. The market is in long position. Market has been moving up ever since right around 2 o'clock, with a big push at 3 o'clock. Right at 3 o'clock, this big candle was created. But no, I'm not in a long. I'm also not jumping into price action this late. So it's already left me, and so I'm going to let it continue. But don't let that stop you if you want to take the trade. I'm just telling you, for me, it's not a trade for me to enter at this point. Good job, Luke. Yeah, about 9 until 11 o'clock was definitely really choppy conditions, and even from 11 to 11:20 or so, still wasn't great. But seemed like price picked up the second half at 11 o'clock hour. Was doing decent during lunch, consolidated during 1 o'clock, and from 2 o'clock broke out of the consolidation and carried on bullish. Oh yeah, you would have got the whole range, 200 points. Yep. Yeah, it would have been even on one contract. 200 points would have gave you 4,000. Anything more than that, it would have been definitely more than that. So yeah, that would have been an excellent trade, crypto. But I mean, you did good anyway, even on that one as well as the continuation here at 3 o'clock. The only thing is you missed out on this, but missing out on this chop was only is negligible. It wasn't that much. You caught the bulk of the move from 626 and you're still in. So you're up 80 handles already, potentially more. If we get to what 50% of this bearish fair value gap, that'll be 100 points from the 3 o'clock open. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Good recovery. Excellent recovery, Luke. Mm. Oh, 750. Okay. Yeah, crypto, I'm still not comfortable entering continuation. So when price takes off the way it did, then that's one that I just have to wave to it as it's running away. Try to catch it on its way back, but I can't get in. Can't catch a moving train. Okay. Mm. All right, we're into the final half hour of today's live stream. Hope everyone is so far enjoying the stream. I hope many of you were able to catch that long starting at 3 o'clock and are booking profits or have booked profits. Yeah, loot. I had that issue for quite some time where it was always, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but my first trade in the morning was more times than not a losing trade. Oh, okay. All right, crypto. Let me go back and try to remember where the hell it was. I think it was here. I think it was these two. Right? Anyone still in longs? You got about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes left today for trading if you're in a funded account or with one of the prop firms. If you're in your private funds, then carry on as usual. All right, let's see. Just show of hands, like how many are still in longs or still in their trade? Oh man. Yeah, we could get something in this last half hour. It might push hard. But I think for me it's best to just see another day. Come back tomorrow, refresh, recharge, ready to go, and see what price gives me. Start early. Hopefully catch something good in the morning session. But if not, yeah, I'm not sure 3:45 is the time. Getting exercise while trading. Awesome. Mm, REI, I did not take one today. Nope. Market didn't present what I needed. There were a couple lows that I was looking to be swept before I looked for an entry, and those lows didn't get swept. And price just pulled away from me. Even here at 3 o'clock, I mean, I was looking for something to come down, and it just not even this one. This one's I just put recently, but I was looking for lower prices, and price opened up at 3 o'clock and just took off. Um, so nope, I didn't take any trades today. So you didn't miss if you were just looking for me to take a trade. You didn't miss anything, but there was some decent lessons to be learned today. So something you may want to go back through price action during your back testing, or something just to look and see what happened today and where you would have made a play if you were available. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have some lower prices delivered. Two areas where price could settle. The third went down at 611. Mm-hmm. 1 minute bearish breaker. So you here trade into it right there, which also had this sliver of a fair value gap right here. You can barely see it at 696. Right. So high, low, higher high, lower low. Then trade back. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the 1 minute can, just like anything else on the 1 minute, it's always stronger the higher you go. 2 minute, 3 minute, even up to 5 minute. 5 minute generally on day traders. 5 minute is where you want to, that's probably the lowest that you want to get any type of confirmation or a PD arrays and things from. And then the 1 minute is 1, 2, 3, and 4 is where you want to take your entries. Yep. I just did that on the 1 minute because you said the 1 minute breaker was confirmed. So that's the only reason why I did that there. 5, 4. Yep. And 2. Yep. Looks like we got the same range on the 2 minute as we had on the 1, but none of the other time frames shared. Nope. Go back to the 1 minute. Hold firm until we get close to the end. All right, we got 350 coming up. Another 10 seconds. Get rid of this marker. All right, we are getting close to the end here. If you have any questions that have not been asked, any questions unanswered or not been asked, throw it in the chat, please. Yep, crypto. You're right. With the 1 minute giving you a fake out sometimes. Yeah, and I've been trying to refine that after Ray made a few comments saying that you should look for confirmation on the 15 and have your sense of direction and your PD arrays on the 5. And so if you're looking for that 1 minute breaker, just kind of make sure that it flows with the 5 and the 15 minute price action, and that can sometimes help you from getting caught up in a fake out. So during back testing session, I've been looking at that, trying to look at the 5 and the 15 also to figure out if looking at a 1 minute breaker is even what I should be doing. Oh, you like to watch it at the 3 minute? Okay. All right, let's see if price is going to break out of here. Hopefully it doesn't do this for the next 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, like I said, when I was looking at price this weekend, when I did switch down to the 3 minute, it did give a lot of winning trades. I even the ones where I was hypothetically, well, I'm sorry, when I was actually taking the replay trades on the 3 minute, they were really solid and giving great returns. So I do believe that the 3 minute is a good chart to look at. Just not one that I'm as familiar with, but the back testing did show really good results. All right, 6.99 and a quarter. They're gonna break it or no? We had a rejection from this little sliver of a fair value gap that you can't really see here. Make this even larger. So it's right here. And then it went on, touched the breaker, traded out of it. We're back. Fair value gap again. The breaker has not taken out this high over here. All right, everyone, about 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. We'll watch a couple more candles and then we'll say goodbye for the day and we'll come back in the morning and do it all over again. All right, Luke. Yeah, we'll catch you first thing tomorrow morning, 9:15. Talk to you then. Right, there we go. So it looks like the bearish breaker may not hold. That did not. Right. So we are at 401. Watched a couple extra minutes. So I'll go ahead and let everyone let everyone go for their evening. Everyone enjoy yourself. And thanks for the session today. Thanks for being here for most of you. And I will see you tomorrow morning. So take care. See you then. Cheers.